Arthur Alexander Folks. I was born at Matthewtown in Agua on the 11th of May, 1928. My first job was a linotype operator at the Nassau Guardian. Trade, as they called it then. Every summer we used to go to some person. Would you believe one summer I did tailoring with Mr. Bingham. But I did some at the Tribune and at the Guardian, and when I left school I went to work at the Guardian as a linotype operator. And then later on I went to work at the Tribune as a linotype operator and then as a journalist. I don't know if I had this natural inclination, but I think it was the state of the country at the time. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't do something about it. And one of my beats as a journalist was to cover the House of Assembly. And so I had a full view of the goings on. And, I said, no. I had to do something to change conditions in my country for my children and for thousands of other children who would come behind, We simply couldn't leave the country like that. I think if the country was in good shape, I think I might not have got into politics, but it was something I had to do. I joined shortly after the party was formed, because along with some other young men, and we gradually became more involved, and this group that we had, we used to meet and talk politics. And then we realized we had a meeting of minds. And then we became a political force inside the party. So much so that we formalized ourselves into a committee called the National Committee for Positive Action. We borrowed that from Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, because he had a similar. But we were the radicals, I suppose, because the PLP at first, as you know, was formed by some very nice people, but we had to take it a step further and make it an instrument for really radical change that the country needed, But right after we won in '62, the collegiality that we had so close and so warm and intense during the struggle sort of evaporated. And there was this cult of the personality that started to develop around Sir Lyndon. And, well, that wasn't too bad, but then he started to act, to drag his feet and, to make, to be unilateral and all that sort of thing. And to do some things we didn't agree with, and also to drag his feet on some things that we thought were very important. At Lewis Yard, we were talking about these things. I just mentioned to you, we were complaining in the party about the disappointments and all the rest of that. And we thought, and it was just before a convention. And so we went to Lewis Yard to talk with our brothers and sisters there, all in the party. This is not a public, We went to Lewis Yard on a Sunday afternoon to have this meeting, to explain to our followers the problems we're having in the party. And just after the minister finished with the prayers, the fellows in the front row, whom we knew quite well, these are brothers, they got us folded chairs. These were folding chairs. And they came onto the stage and they started to beat us. And Cecil, I think, was stunned. And I took him by the arm, and the blood was running down his head. And I led him out, and there was a policeman, I won't call his name, standing in plain clothes at the door, at the exit, and he did not lift a finger. So we realized we were in trouble, that we were entering a new kind of phase in politics in the Bahamas. Great sorrow, actually. up to that point, we had not intended to leave the party. We were trying to bring things to a head inside the party and try to get Sir Lyndon to see the light. But I guess, it had gone beyond that point, as you just mentioned now. It is, if you can't fish, get the hell out of the boat and all that sort of thing. One man manifesto. So I guess we realized that our efforts were in vain. And each of us came to the conclusion that we had no confidence in it. And we did not move the motion. The motion was put on the agenda by Randall Fox. And Randall, in typical fashion, put the motion, moved it, and left. He didn't even stay to the vote. But outside, it was tense because there was some stuff on the radio about us being traitors and all the rest of that. And they were hollering for our heads. And we knew it was going to be tough. And the crowd was not kept across the street. The crowd was right at the door, right around the statue of Victoria. So, and I guess they were saying that if you don't do right, you got to come through here. But there were a number of others who were supposed to take the same position we took, but didn't do it for one reason or another. But 8 of us stood up at the time. And I have to tell you, it was frightening when we walked out. And we walked out and we walked towards our car on Parliament Street. Again, Cecil, who they thought was the leader, and they identified him as the leader of this uprising, somebody tried to stab Cecil. And a man in the crowd who was supporting us put his hand up and got the knife in his hand. I can't remember his name right now. It may come to me. And he became a devoted follower of Cecil from them. But and I must say this. The policeman, MacDonald Fields, I think, Fields. He was very good. He saw the requirements of the moment, and he got some others, and he formed a cordon so that we could walk through the crowd to our cars on Parliament Street. But that was frightening. So Lewis Yard got beat up. It was not easy. We were still hanging on to PLP. We had put a lot into that. I put a lot of years and a lot of sacrifice into this, and you don't walk away lightly, And even in the by-election in Andros, we called ourselves a free PLP. And then afterwards, you say, we might as well just form a party and have done with it, because this is getting nowhere. And we sat down, we decided to form a party, and we invited all the other parties to disband, and their members could choose to join us. Jeffrey Johnstone, and this is an important point because there was a rumor put out, or there was a talk put out that we merged. That's not true. When we formed the FNM at Jimmy Shepherd's house, I think it was the night of October 21st, I believe. Jimmy Shepherd's house in Fox Hill. There was not one UBP politician in the room. We wrote the Constitution, and we discussed the platform, which I later drafted, that night. It was surprising the support that we got, so quickly, because, going up against Lyndon, the Prime Minister who led us a majority rule, that was like the Americans going up against George Washington. We went up against him at the height of his power. But still, we got some solid support across the board in the country. And we made the announcement in the usual way, by press release and all the rest of that, and we had meetings, and we were surprised at the support we got. Now, it didn't delude us into believing we had an easy road. But it was something, again, that we had to do. And I've seen some in journalism, sometimes they say the FNM party, that's not good usage. It's the FNM or the party. Right? Freedom was uppermost in our mind because we were challenging this cult, this one-man cult. And I guess one of the reasons why we talked about freedom, and we wanted to make it clear this was a national party, because we've had fly-by-night parties forever, from way back up to now, that were never really national parties. But we were announcing that we are a national movement. And that is what we did. And I remember we were in a place when we were looking at the law, election law, and I saw, they have all the symbols here. And I said, goodness gracious, they actually left the torch in this list for somebody to choose, because the torch is so rich with symbolism. I thought they might have taken that out so nobody could use it. So we seized on the torch right away. And then we got somebody to stylize it for us. It's right in the law, in the act. And we got somebody to stylize it for us, and we made that our symbol. But in national, we also meant to say that we are finished with the divisions of the past. We are all Bahamians. Nassau people and Family Island people, or we say Outer Island, we've changed that in the Constitution, to indicate that we're finished with those prejudices. Black and white, all Bahamians together. This is the kind of vision we had for the future. I guess my colleagues realized that I had a talent with words. I could manage to string a decent sentence. That's why when we wanted a newspaper, I had to leave the Tribune. Nobody else could do it or would do it, so I had to do it. And then they had another shock. And I remember it was in the '62 election, my first political speech in a schoolroom in Fox Hill. Now, I am an introvert by nature, and I'm not an aggressive, outgoing person. And I got up to speak, and the crowd was responsive. And my friends on the side were looking at me, and the crowd really got, But the thing is that I had something to say. I knew what I wanted to say, and I had the grounding in the language to say it in ways that they could understand. So my colleagues said, well, damn, the boy could talk too. So I was called upon to write, and I've written any number of documents throughout those years, and of course to speak. And so I had to go up and down. I have spoken, I believe, in every island in the Bahamas. So I think that was my principal contribution, taking the message. We read. We informed ourselves about the system under which we were governed. So when we got there were no surprises like that for us. We knew about cabinet government than it was then. It was important then, but it's even more important now because we are saturated with American news. Because if all we see on TV is them, pretty soon we will come to believe that we are them. We start to talk like them, we start to act like them, we imitate them. And that would be very that has become very problematic for us in our politics. That's what I was saying earlier. So I would suggest that young people who want to get in, learn about read your Constitution and learn how our system operates. And we have a good system. We Bahamians, we are the most fortunate people in the world. We have all of these various threads, European, our soul, African, but we've woven this beautiful tapestry with all these different threads to make us who we are, Bahamian people. And we are the most talented people in the world because of all this rich genetic pool. That's why we do so well in sports and in the arts. So again, I hope everybody in this room knows about the old Bahamians who contributed, like Bert Williams. Bert Williams was long before Sidney Poitier. He was a vaudevillian, actor, singer, Bahamian, left the Bahamas, went to the United States. Paul Mears, who was the greatest cabaret dancer of his time. And he said when he moved, it was poetry in motion. And I don't need to tell you what's happening in sports. For a small country like the Bahamas, with less than 400,000 people, there's some countries who would be glad to have the record we have with gold medals. So we have so much to be proud of, but we have to know our history, know our roots, and take care of them and nourish them. Thank you.
Good evening, Bahamas. This is the Free National Movement's Convention 2022, coming to you live from Atlantis Paradise Island. Tonight, we have come to honor our past, celebrate our achievements, and chart the future on day 2 of our 3-day event. We're about moving forward united. We are about a better Bahamas for all. Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to be here this evening, and we have present with us tonight our former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis. We have present with us here tonight our former Ambassador, His Excellency Maurice Moore. We have present here tonight our present leader, the Honorable Michael C. Pentard. We have present F&Ms. Tonight, we have a dynamic lineup for you. And before we begin, let us first give God thanks. Please welcome to the stage Kevin Harris, who will bring the prayer.
Forward, upward, onward, together.
Good evening, F&Ms. Let's stand as we honor and reverence our God. We have an MCM in West Grand Bahama by the name of Mrs. Verlaine Hanna. And every time she would pray, she would sing a song, but I just want to open with a familiar chorus that she would sing. We've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He have never failed us yet. Father in heaven, we pause tonight just to give you thanks and to give you praise for 50 years as a political movement. Father God, we thank you for blessing us to be residents of a country that we could come and participate in our democratic process. We thank you, God, that we are part of the greatest organization in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Free National Movement. Father God, we thank you for 50 years. Father God, even as we come tonight on night number 2, Father God, I come presenting every participant who will ascend this podium tonight. Father God, every entertainer, Father God, we just invoke your presence with us tonight, oh God. We pray, oh God, that everything that we do and everything that we say, we pray that you would get glory and you would get honor. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Please remain standing.
Wave up, blow them horns. Wave up, blow them horns. Wave up, blow them horns. Wave up, it's all red again.
Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem. Playing rather. Let us begin. Please be seated. As I mentioned, we have a night that is filled with dynamic speakers this evening, and so we will get started. But before we do that, please welcome to the stage our first entertainment for this evening, Wendy.
Show off your whining, wave up your flag, yeah. Show off your costume, wearing your culture. The rhythm is in you, just sing it out, yeah. Caribbean inside you. Show them your attitude, show them your attitude. Show them your attitude. I is an island gal, and so that means I don't think no food, and my mouth is hard. So if I pull up on you, brace your style. Don't back down, boy, I give it you a shot. When you think face, you're fucking hip, so fast. I'm a fist. And if I bet too hard and I mash up the place, then my apology. We can't control it. It's in, we think we own it. And we can beat this party up. Watch this. Show off your mind. Show them. Wave up your flag. Show them. Wearing your culture, your rhythm is in you. Just sing it out. Y'all know how to be scared to stand up, you know. Ah! Hey, show them your attitude. Show them your attitude. Let's go. Show them your attitude. Listen.
Raise your hands up.
F&M's make some noise. F&M's, let me see the pom pom.
It's when
F&M's, let me hear y'all make some noise.
it's Wendy.
I see my party people over here. Let's go. What you know about it, huh? And let me tell you, I don't do stress. My life is meant for more. You never catch me trying to impress. It's all natural. I'm born with that. Boost my level. And if you keep up, come. Girl, stand up. Huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We gonna turn up the dance too. Watch the thing, cause we, count love, respect the process. That's how you know the right. So let me hear all the FNM say. Sing yeah, today. Yeah, watch the thing, cause we, yes, never count. No. That's how you know the real boss is. One more time, FNM. Say yeah. Let me hear y'all say yeah up in this corner right here. Don't let the young people beat your mind. Watch the thing, cause we, never count. Oh no. That's how you know the real boss is. Big tune. Stop the line up. Ladies, let me see you walk up. Walk up for that. Let's go. First of all, you don't need no validation. You don't need no affirmation. No, sir. Work that body. Confidence is sex appeal. Every now I got you feel. The way you box it and work the bumper right there. Right the ball. Left in the. My work is gone. Hey. That's it. Y'all up. Hey. My work is gone. Walk out. Hey. All my ladies, walk out for them. Wine and get them. All right, y'all looking good. Y'all ready? We don't have no competition when you come out on your mission. Don't worry, no. I work that body. You know that you're gorgeous. Hit it with performance. Bounce, stick, work. Right there. I know FNMs know how to party. I know y'all know how to party. Let's go. Line up. Walk up. All my ladies, walk out for them. Wine and get that confidence. Hey. That's it. Listen, walk out to this up. Walk out to this up. Show off because run out to with your summer slim body. Walk out. Hey, walk out. Show off. Run out. Cause you're the boss. And tonight the woman go. My work is gonna line up, yeah. And of course, they need me. We gotta walk out one more time. Let's go, Hey. All my ladies, walk out for them. Why not get that confidence? Yeah. Hey. Wine and get them confidence. What you know about it? FNMs, enjoy the rest of this beautiful convention. Make some noise. Sexy ladies, we come out for them. Forward, upward, onward, together. All FNMs together.
FNMs. I'm going to figure out right now which era of the FNM is the best. Because in this room, we have the 70s FNM. Any 70s FNM in here? What about the 80s? The 90s?
I just want to say again, it's a pleasure to be back here at day 2 of the FNM's 2022 convention here at Atlantis. I'm privileged to be here with Godwill MacDonald, a 2017 candidate for Cat Island. It's an exciting night today. The hall is full. Everybody's excited.
Yeah,
How are you feeling so far, man?
Dawn, you know what? The intent behind this convention is all coming together. Momentum is being built. The excitement is here. The room is being filled up. You know, and so we're going to go back to the stage right now because this is the excitement in the room is great.
No problem. I see pom-poms in there.
Absolutely.
Keep the fire burning tonight. Can I see my FNMs? In 1971, 7 mighty men of valor, vision, character, and integrity embarked on a journey that would create a paradigm shift in Bahamian politics. These 7 men saw the pain and suffering of the Bahamian people, and they knew they were the only hope to save a national crisis. From this great journey, our great party, the Free National Movement, was born. The Free National Movement was created with the mission to be a voice for the voiceless, an advocate for the poor, and a catalyst for change. Our founding fathers understood that our country was in dire need of change, from Grand Bahama in the north to Inagua in the south. They understood that this task was to be dealt with immediately. Our founding fathers saw the souls that were yearning for a Bahamas that would cater to all Bahamians, regardless of race, social status, religious or educational background. This became the force that encouraged our party to deliver. From 1971 to present, our party has been known for delivering to the Bahamian people. Our party has refused to be a party of merely talks and no action. We refuse to be a party that does not fight for our people's rights and freedom. My FNMs, our history did not stop there, but it gets better. In 1992, under the stellar leadership of the Right Hubert Alexander Ingram, the Free National Movement showed the world how good governance looks and how it sounds. It was under Mr. Ingram's leadership that evolution and modernization began happening rapidly. It was under this very same administration our country's wealth escalated in numbers that once seemed impossible. Not only are we known for delivering, but we are known for making national history. This was only the beginning for greater things. My FNMs, the paradigm shift did not stop there. In 1995, after retaining governance for a second term, Mr. Ingram and his administration continued to work for all Bahamians. Our party understands that it is our duty to close gaps and build bridges for future generations. But there came 2017. Another extraordinary leader led our party to a grand slide historical victory. This leader, my dear beloved FNM brothers and sisters, was no other than the most honorable Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis. FNM, make some noise. Under his leadership, education became a top priority, thus allowing all qualified Bahamian students free educational access to both the University of the Bahamas and the Bahamas Technical Vocational Institute. Moreover, it was under Dr. Minnis' leadership tourism numbers went skyrocketing high. But this was clear to be exactly the highest to be recorded in Bahamian history. My FNM brothers and sisters, not only are we famous for delivering and making history, but we are also famous for making impossible things become possible. The work did not stop there. As a party, we continue to work for all Bahamians. Because of this philosophy,
Dr. Minnis and his administration founded the Over the Hill Initiative and the Small Business Accelerator Grant Program. Both initiatives assisted our country tremendously. As a party that continues to deliver, make history, and make things happen, we have now elected a new leader, the Honorable Mr. Michael Pintard. My FNM brothers and sisters, it is imperative that we move in unity with our leader and stand in solidarity. We must agree that our country's future relies on us. Our country needs us to deliver, make history, and make things happen. We can no longer dwell on yesterday's defeat, but we must learn from yesterday's defeat in order to succeed for tomorrow's victory. Now is the time for us to begin working. Not tomorrow, not next month, not next year, and definitely not in the next 4 years. But now, I am reminded that tomorrow waits for no man. We must begin to show the Bahamian people that we are still that party that has their best interests at heart.
We read and never scared.
It is imperative that we secure a prosperous future for our party, for our children, and most importantly, our country. I am reminded that our past records can confirm that we are a party that defends and fight and stand with our Bahamian people. Our party's rich history cannot be forgotten. We must educate the next generation so that the work can continue. The Free National Movement has a rich past, an excellent present, and a bright future. Let us remain optimistic and positive. Do not allow the obstacles to become an antagonistic force to our success. We have a country that is depending on us to deliver a better, brighter, stronger, and healthier Bahamas. They are depending on us to make history on a national, regional, and international level. They are expecting us to get the work done. As I conclude, I am reminded that without yesterday, there is no tomorrow. So I urge you not to forget our party's struggle and fights to get where we are today. Let us utilize yesterday's past and today's present as we build a bright future. In the words of our great Queen's College motto, legendary past and glorious future. This indeed is the Free National Movement. So let us remain focused, determined, and united as we move forward, upward, and onward together. May God continue to bless this great commonwealth of the Bahamas and the Free National Movement.
I's FNM, you's FNM, we's FNM, she's FNM, hey! I's FNM, you's FNM.
Thank you, Rolna. The Free National Movement is indeed inundated with young, talented Bahamians. Put your hands together again, one more time. We're all about serious business as well. And the next presenter that is coming to this stage has been the voice for those in the disabled community for quite some time now. Many of you will recognize her as she is a legacy. She will come to the stage now and introduce you to herself and tell the story. Please welcome to the stage, Erin Brown.
FNMs. This year's convention is one that each of you should leave with a renewed purpose. By honoring the past, which continue to fuel our achievements, ensure the way remains bright for the future. Who am I? I am a representation of how the past has fueled achievements and birthed an inclusive future. A short, blonde-haired black female wearing blue-tinted glasses. My pronouns are she and her, and I self-identify as a limb-difference individual, also known as an above-the-knee amputee. A grand Bahamian, a Grand Bahama native, a daughter of a freedom fighter who, despite being mercilessly victimized at times for his political convictions, found ways to connect, unite, and show up as a nation builder. The principles of the Free National Movement were forged by the men and women who made up the party machinery. This gave my father, Senator Edwin Wheelock Waikiki Brown, JP, MBE, and MCM, the fuel, the audacity to run as a young man in the 1972 general election, Baintown constituency, his homestead, against Hubert Ingram. Only a short time after the formation of the party in 1971, this experience itself on the over the hill, changing the mindsets of which was difficult and dangerous at times. Did he win? No, he didn't. Yet, did he stop? My father's whose blood run through my veins was not deterred by the loss and ran again in Cooperstown, Abaco in 1977. Why are these moments important? As we honor our past, we embody the courage, tenacity, and grit that our past F&M members has opened doors to leadership opportunities that we still experience today. Not only did he not win the seat in Cooperstown in 1977, he continued to serve managing 3 general election campaigns, national vice chairman, senator, and a consummate Bahamian. Political lines may be the order of the day, yet he was a safe space for those who were ready to take our beloved nation to higher heights. Who am I? Memories of red, blue, and white fill my childhood memories. Singing, ain't no stopping us now. That was on repeat while dancing and waving my pom-poms and my 2 fingers high in the air. F&M all the way. In preparation for the rallies or when my dad, guests, or family came over, always rendering my dad to smile big with his signature laugh. Amongst the many achievements, 2 stood out to me. The formation of the Torchbearers. In November 1971, as my dad was in preparation for the 1972 general election run, he welcomed the first president of the Torchbearers Youth Association, Richard Fox, a young law student who stated, "This organization is not just a social gathering. I would like to make it clear that our main objective is to work towards bringing together all the youth in the Commonwealth in support of the F&M and its efforts to provide this country with better governance." To date, Torchbearers continue to hold this mantle as successful business women and men, community leaders, mentors, and bright flames in and out of the political spaces. Secondly, who can remember hearing these historic Governor General, the first Chief Justice, the first female president of the Court of Appeals, the first speaker, female Speaker of the House, the first acting Prime Minister, y'all don't hear me? The first female Attorney General, the first female leader of the opposition, and the first female member of Parliament. Woo! At the time these achievements were made and recognized for its historical components, there was a rarely spoken about fire that was lit in each girl child, adolescent female, and adult woman throughout the land that is felt still today as more women leadership achievements are being made. Women leadership opportunities began to increase. Why? We were ready to embody the same selflessness, courage, and determination that our freedom fighters before us engaged. In one single election, we had over 75 women nominated, ratified, elected, and even more appointed, keeping the fire burning. Who am I? I am the daughter of a freedom fighter who knew his girl child was destined for leadership because of his party's principles, included the youth of our nation to lead the way. And if he had his way, I was going to run for the highest office of the nation. And I am sure he is throwing the best celebration right now as I stand on this stage. I hear you loud and clear, Dad. So where do we go from here? Representation matters. I matter. You matter. We matter. Yes, I am a short, blonde-haired black female wearing blue-tinted glasses. My pronouns are she and her, and I self-identify as a limb difference individual, also known as an above-the-knee amputee. I am also a mother, human rights activist, a professional disability inclusion consultant, a business owner, the first disability-led constituency firm in the Bahamas, an athlete, the first para-triathlete for the Bahamas, and the first Bahamian godmother in the history of the Bahamas and maritime industry, and the first black woman with a disability to be bestowed that honor. Disability is a part of my identity, yet it is not acknowledged in data collection, disaggregated data, inclusive communication, or accessible spaces. This year, when you look at your screen, you see a sign language interpreter. Please give a round of applause for the sign language interpreter, as that was a personal request to help us increase access, inclusion, and opportunities, and I would not have been here if it was not made available. FNMs, you matter. The future of sustainability, innovation, and economic stability is pursuant to your allyship of human rights. This includes diverse populations, race, gender, disabilities, sexual orientation, religion, social, economic, and migrant status, and languages. Oh, we are a part of a global community where the Bahamas can charter a diverse future. Let us honor the past by reaching back and uplifting, empowering, and mentoring the seeds planted by past freedom fighters. The divide cannot begin at home. We matter. Access is a human right which has been excluded from over 10,138 persons living with disabilities. And these numbers increase every year due to birth, incident, accident, age, national disaster, and emergencies. Our future is accessible. Our future is inclusive, and our future must provide opportunities for all members to drive a sustainable and innovative Bahamas. So on this night, during the 5th anniversary of the Free National Movement, it gives me great pleasure to honor my father, Senator Edwin Wheelock Wyke Brown, JP, MCM, MBE's contributions, celebrating those achievements that continue to strengthen the party's principles and launch the direction of an inclusive future. So I say again, who am I? I am a proud Bahamian daughter of a freedom fighter whose shoulders keep me grounded in nation building. Together, we continue forward, united.
This girl is on fire.
see red, red, red on everybody. Red over here, red over there. Red is everywhere. Hey! Eyes FM, use FM.
Just want to say that, hey, that was an exciting presentation
Ladies and gentlemen.
by Mr. Brown and
Paul.
Paul and Ms. Brown. I must say that was inspiring. I must say, hearing from this young South Albertonian telling his story and what he looks forward to the future for the F&M, and now hearing from Vikey Brown's daughter, I'm sure that he must be so proud in heaven looking down from us, a proud F&M.
Absolutely. You know, Dawn, we gathered under this team, Forward United, honoring our past, celebrating our future, and celebrating our achievement, actually, in charting the future. And so it's so amazing that Erin reminded us of the many firsts that we had as an organization. But she also challenged us to move forward. And so we're gonna join in.
Definitely.
To speak at the stage right now.
Member of Parliament, Mr. Adrian White.
Raise your hands, please. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? That's it, F&Ms. What an awesome convention we're having out here today, ladies and gentlemen. And who agrees with me? I think we might have just seen 2 future members of Parliament already on the stage tonight, in Mr. Paul and Miss Brown. Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I want to congratulate those that received MCM awards this evening, earlier this afternoon, as well as those that were recognized to be on the advisory council. There was a few of them that touched me closely because they're from my constituency. New MCM, Anthony Woodside, advisory council member, Prescola Hall, and advisory council member, Pastor Franklin Bethel. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. Now, as I come out here this evening, I've got myself prepared. I don't wear fancy socks often, but I have my fancy socks on tonight. And I hope you guys are feeling good like me. If you've been around, you've seen my shirts out there, F&M, and feeling good, ladies and gentlemen. Keep the fire burning! F&Ms, it is such a privilege to be among you as one of your representatives, and I come from the great constituency in Anne's. I've had the opportunity to go around and meet many of you over the last 4 weeks, and it's truly been an honor. As we look now at this convention, honoring our past, celebrating our achievements, and charting our future, F&Ms, I would like to say good evening to our party leader, Michael C. Pintard, as well as Mrs. Pintard. I'd like to recognize also our past Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, as well as our MCMs, our party officers, our freedom fighters. That position, ladies and gentlemen, is something that we should all aspire to. That position, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to our foot soldiers, belongs to our campaign managers, belongs to our spouses who, while we're out doing the people's work, are at home protecting our families and making sure that we stay energized, because we have very important work to do, F&Ms. Is the Women's Association here tonight? Let me hear you, Women's Association. All right, ladies. And the torchbearers. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Torchbearers from all over our family islands have converged here for this great convention. And F&Ms, we are feeling good. We have the honor of celebrating 50 years right in that sweet spot of life. And on our way forward, united. F&Ms, as we honor our past, let's receive the energy that the torch brings. The torch of the F&M has guided our nation out of difficult days. Ours is the party that was formed by free PLPs, through the worst of days, F&Ms, we remained all together. In the last 4 weeks, I've had conversations with Dr. Elwood Donaldson, His Excellency Sir Arthur Folkes, and Ambassador Maurice Moore. All of them are founding fathers, men that stood on the front line of our burgeoning organization when every tactic of intimidation, pressure, and downright victimization was being met on them, and on anyone that wanted more for our people through better governance. It is a record, F&Ms, of better governance that our members wanted then, and it is a better record of governance that the F&M has delivered administration after administration. In 1987, F&Ms, oh, who remembers what they did in 1987? We don't worry about that anymore, F&Ms, because after 1987 came glorious 1992. Victory, F&Ms, came our way. I remember being in the back of a truck at the age of 13. 2 coolers were packed and the celebration was on. The truck I was in rode from Montague to the gas station on East Bay Street and joined a motorcade to the Red Sea celebration. People were cheering in the streets. Horns were being blown, waving, and everyone was screaming with joy. Why? Because our nation had won again. That was a time, F&Ms, when our fire burned its brightest. Years of struggle had been overcome. The dream of Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield, Sir Kendall Isaacs, the Dissident 8, our first parliamentarians, and committed F&Ms from all islands had been realized. People were energized, and the legacy of Hubert Ingram was solidified. Janet Bostwick, Dame Janet, became the nation's first elected female member of parliament. And she went on to become the first female acting prime minister and the first female attorney general. As an F&M, I look at those accomplishments in our party with pride. As Shadow Minister of Works and Shadow Minister of Legal Affairs, I can state that our party's record stands out. Under the direction of our past Ministers of Works, Frank Watson, Earl DeVoe, Tommy Turnquest, Nico Grant, and Desmond Bannister, the infrastructural landscape of our archipelago was changed for the better. Under the direction of our past Ministers of Legal Affairs, our Attorney Generals, Sir Orville Turnquest, Brent Simonette, Dame Janet Bostwick, Claire Hepburn, Michael Barnett, and Carl Bethel, bold steps were taken in our legislature and in our judiciary that today have continued to reinforce our rights, protections, and liberties, and secured even improving our industries. F&Ms! It was after the first 2 terms of Ingram leadership and through our time in opposition during the party leadership of Tommy Turnquest, our nation again faced challenging days. Only 7 members from the Free National Movement were elected to represent us in the House of Assembly, and only 1 from Nassau, Brent Simonette. Despite the loss, we stayed strong. Our party united under Ingram, and for the 3rd time in our history, the Bahamian people voted, delivering F&M victory. The returns of F&M governance have been felt across our archipelago and can be seen today. The road improvement project carried out across Nassau might have had some delays, but we delivered. F&Ms, we delivered. F&Ms, if you remember what we did, say it with me, we delivered. Again, F&Ms, say it with me, we delivered. That's right, F&Ms. We did deliver the road improvement project, the six-legged roundabout, dual carriageways, traffic studies that led to functional road design and a major traffic light operated intersection at Marathon. The water and sewage repiping project, that was occurring at the same time, and it made red water, in the east at least, a thing of the past. We delivered F&Ms. That's our history. That's our standard of government. The standard of living was improved for all Bahamians living in Nassau and visiting Nassau. F&M Works upgrades didn't stop with the road improvement project. There were further F&M governed infrastructure upgrades and improvement projects. Who remembers the improvements at Montague Beach and at Saunders Beach? When we look around now, we see people taking them for granted like they've always been there. But that's because when we govern for all the people. Groins to retain sand were put in to prevent the tides from eroding the beach coastline. Sand was added, and the Bahamian public again had two great spots for recreational activities. Families could enjoy a day at the beach, lovers a night by the sea. Adults of all vocations were able to exercise in a safer environment, and family island communities converged to cheer on their hometown sloops. The Bahamian public amenities were improved F&Ms by the F&M government for all Bahamians. As the current Member of Parliament for the St. Anne's constituency, I remember these days well, because it was also during this time that the Ingram administration improved the Montague fish ramp. It received a complete makeover. Fish vendors received designated stall space. Fishermen had a wide, safe ramp to launch the boats from, and jet ski operators could maneuver multi-link trailers to launch their jet skis and earn a handsome living. We have much to be proud of F&Ms. During our last administration, in legal affairs, we established a constitutionally independent director of public prosecutions. That assisted the criminal justice system. We got the Bahamas off the Financial Action Task Force blacklist, which we were placed on for failing a CFATF assessment in 2015, and we also got off the European Union blacklist. Under our Department of Legal Affairs, we implemented legal reforms to comply with substantive requirement laws of Organizations for Economic Cooperation and Development, and we enacted the DARE Act. Who doesn't know what the DARE Act is today? The DARE Act, ladies and gentlemen, is digital assets and registered exchanges, and that is which led to major digital asset providers locating in the Bahamas, creating jobs for Bahamians, and diversifying the financial services industry. This was huge F&Ms, and this is something through it all over the last administration under Prime Minister Minnis and his cabinet, we were able to accomplish for the Bahamas. We boosted the financial services industry, and a world-recognized crypto exchange, FTX, came to our shores, and Bahamians, community service organizations, we are all now reaping the benefits. Why? F&Ms, because we deliver. That's right, F&Ms. Let's be proud of what we do. We also signed and paid for a new digital platform for the Registrar General's office, which will greatly reduce the threat of illegal hacking and provide greatly enhanced digital filing platform for the financial services sector and ordinary Bahamians. We initiated plans to establish a standalone juvenile court so that young alleged offenders are not taken to court in the glare of publicity at the South Street Magistrates Court. And we took concrete steps to fully implement the Freedom of Information Act and we implemented a regular consultative meeting process with leaders in civil society organizations. That's the first time such a bold, interactive approach to governance has been given, and we can see what's happened today. Community service organizations have stepped up and pitched in to what we've been able to do in our country. That's a participation between the elected government and civil society. It's remarkable, FNMs. And we did it because we continue to deliver. FNMs, we had a lot of accomplishments in the Financial Action Task Force area. We got off the list in record time, ahead of most Caribbean countries, and are compliant in 38 of 40 FATF recommendations, positioning us at the same level as the United States and Switzerland. We have much to be proud of, FNMs. We have much to be feeling good about. All right, now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what most Bahamians don't know, and it's important that I share it with you. If you're in the house tonight from Abaco, let me hear Abaco. All right, I see Abaco's in the house. What about Andros? Andros is here in the Berry Islands. Grand Bahama. Long Island. Long Island's in the house. What about Inagua? All right, all right, all right. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, under our Ministry of Works in the last administration, we carried out in Abaco the Dune Road project to protect Elbow Key from being split into two. And we also constructed the new bridge connecting Great Abaco and Little Abaco when the bridge that the PLP built fell into the water during Dorian. Extensive highway repairs in North Abaco to eliminate the stink pond and improve road safety. Extensive road refurbishments in South Abaco. Complete demolition. This is something no one touched in our nation's past. Everyone looked at it, complained about it, and wondered what was going to come to Abaco because of the communities like the Mud and Pigeon Pea. We oversaw the complete demolition of the Mud and Pigeon Pea, and we oversaw the initial demolition of illegal construction in the farm. Let me hear from Abaco if that was something you guys appreciated. All right, and then going further, we did the largest and most comprehensive electrical restoration initiative in Bahamian history, and that was as a result of the response to the devastation by Dorian. Every island in our archipelago felt a little bit of the work that we did under the last administration. In Andros, there was the new bridge at London Creek. There was extensive dredging to Stanyard Creek, replacing a 60-year-old collapsed relic. The roads were improved in Central Andros, also roads in South Andros, and the gymnasium, which started in South Andros as a $100,000 afterthought, was completed by the FNM as the biggest gym in our country. We deliver, FNM, we do, and we have to be proud because we have nothing to hold our head down about. We are the best at governance in this nation. The Berry Islands, West End, Grand Bahama, North Andros, and the Berry Islands. The Berry Islands got a new airport. Grand Bahama, at Smith's Point, they had the seawall that was needed to protect the historic community. There was extensive repairs to the dilapidated Supreme Court building and the complete refurbishment of the decaying General Post Office. In Eleuthera, we can remember the new mailboat dock that was built in Rock Sound. There was road paving projects in South Eleuthera and highway paving projects all throughout Eleuthera. We also repaired the Glass Window Bridge and completed engineering studies and plans for the new Glass Window Bridge as a modern tourist attraction. What about Exuma and Ragged Island? What did we do down in Ragged Island? Depending on who you ask, they'll say we did nothing. But the truth is, we had a new school, community center, and hurricane shelter built, capable of withstanding 180-mile-per-hour winds. Now, FNMs, our accomplishments are vast, but where we're going in the future, under the Department of Legal Affairs, as will be to ensure that our specialty courts to address family matters, juvenile court matters, as well as magistrate matters are set aside and dealt with properly. And under our efforts in the Ministry of Works, we have to complete the land use plan and land use policies. That'll put the horse back before the cart and take our nation under F&M governance into the future. Forward, united F&Ms. Let me hear you guys. We deliver, and we're proud to be F&Ms.
Don't waste my time, 'cause I go.
Thank you very much.
With Adrian, he's the one we need by our side. 'Cause I go and all in with Adrian. F&M's come lift your torches high. Now come and try to put us out of mission, but we still Bahamas strong. We looking Lord instead by on the
Yo,
mission.
1, 2, 1, 2.
So help me sing.
Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2. This one F&M's. Oh, I can't hear y'all. F&M's. Come on, y'all get up on your feet. Y'all know how we do it. Come on, we gotta liven up this place. In case some of y'all don't know me, I'm Sweet Emily. Y'all don't know who I am? Y'all ain't calling all F&M's to come back home? Well, I'm gonna do this song for you tonight. Ready? The end is near, and so I face. Yo, come on, put your hands together. Friends, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this. I did it. Let me hear you. My way. Sorry through, without exception. I'm glad. Come on, man, let's each at it goes. Each careful step along the byway. Oh, and more, much more than this. I did it. For what is the times? I'm sure you knew when I'm it all more than I can chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I hit it all and spit it out. And through it all, I stood tall and did it my way. Play that next song, play that next song, play that next song. Oh, come on. Ha! Hee-ha! Woo! Shoo-be-doo-be-doo. Oh, come on, y'all. Off your feet. Guess what? I'm in a state of ecstasy. Come on. I'm happy as can be. This must be the greatest thing in life, to have you here with me. Sing it. I've been waiting for a long, long time. I can't believe it's true. Hey, it's good to be here by your side and dance along with you. Sing it. Some people never will. Woo! Why I'm bursting with pride. Hey, all I know is I'm glad you're mine. Sing it. I can't sit down and I'm spinning round. Come on, F&M's. Oh, yeah. I'm in the mood and I'm feeling good. Yes. Yes, boy. It's on my face. Grab me round the waist. Oh, I'm going insane when I hear your name. Woo! Come on, y'all. Let's go. Give it to me now. Oh, yes. One more time. Oh, yes.
I've been waiting for a long, long time. You must believe it's true. Hey, it's good to be here by your side to dance along with you. Let me hear you. Some people never would. Oh, why I'm bursting with pride. Hey, all I know is I'm glad you're mine, and my feelings get high. Sing. Hey, oh, look what you do, go, Charlie. I'm in the mood and I'm feeling good. Hey, oh, look what you do. Hey, it's on my face, got me round the waist. Hey.
I'm so excited to hear this entertainment persons are coming in. I want you to know that we're still excited here at this hotel here at Atlantis. The FNM is celebrating. Adrian White was so right on giving the history of the party and talking about all the great successes, man. Well, how are you feeling so far? This place is packing up so far. I'm excited about tonight.
You know, Adrian has a unique way of getting his message across, right? He's effective in doing that. One of the things that we recognize here tonight, Dawn, is that we've got a lot to celebrate in the past. Phenomenal achievement, all right? Some would want us to ignore the many things that we have done, or the heavy lifting that we have done, the significant achievement that we have accomplished as an organization. But I am happy that we have decided as an organization to choose to reflect and to celebrate, but also to plan towards the future. And I think, you know what? Our new leader, we had our 50-year anniversary. We've got a new, young, visionary leader, and I'm excited about what he has already done so far. If what he has done so far is any indication of what's going to happen in the future, I'm telling you, the organization, the FNM, is going to be ready.
And I'm telling you, I see Lady Naomi Wallace-Whitfield enjoying herself. Maurice Moore is here. We have our former Prime Minister. He's enjoying himself on the floor. The leader of our party, Michael Pintard, is enjoying himself. FNMs are coming in from all over the Bahamas, and they're here listening to what we've been able to accomplish over the years in our family islands in New Providence and Grand Bahama, and they're also going to be hearing what we plan to do in the future. We have a very vast lineup, and we're going to continue to listen and enjoy ourselves here at Atlantis. FNM is enjoying themselves tonight.
Absolutely. You know what? What is so amazing about tonight, the theme is about Forward United, right? And you're hearing that come through in every element of this event tonight. And we're excited about the fact that we are going to be moving forward united under one leader.
Definitely. And we're going to be hearing from some other important speakers, and we're going to go to the stage once more. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Senator the Honorable Darren Henfield.
Mr. Party Leader and Mrs. Pintard, former party leader and former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, Mr. Party Chairman, Convention Co-Chair, Party Executives, distinguished MCMs, Convention Delegates, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We gather in Convention at a very precarious time in the world. Early this morning, Russia launched a long-predicted attack on Ukraine, which has the potential to evolve into all-out war in Europe. Conflict in Europe will be felt here at home and elsewhere in the world. This is why in Parliament last week, we indicated that the cost of food in our country, which is admittedly driven by external events, is just too high. Inflation is now at 40-year highs. Shipping costs are almost prohibitive. The price of fuel will likely increase, and we will pay the price. These are among the many reasons why we in the FNM so strongly opposed the government's determination to reinstate VAT on breadbasket items, which low-income families and small businesses all across this country depend on for their daily sustenance. We beg the PLP to wait for things to settle down before taxing food that the families need to keep pace with the rising prices in our country. We say again to the government of the Bahamas, it's not too late for you to reverse your decision to tax the local sale of medicines and medicinal drugs, and baby food, and female supplies in the bread basket, which we previously in this F&M government zero-rated. We also implore the government to take concrete steps to ease the impact of these confluence of events upon the lives of Bahamians. And for God's sake, stop sending Bahamians home simply because you believe them to be F&M. Because even if they are, we pay taxes too in this country. Now, all of this against the backdrop of the last 2 years, where we in this country were buffeted by especially challenging threats to our physical and economic survival. First, Hurricane Dorian in September 2019, which was followed just 6 months later by the COVID-19 pandemic, beginning in March 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic demonstrates a similar threat against which we were similarly ill-prepared to confront, at least logistically. The unprecedented social and economic impacts upon our people, particularly in Grand Bahama and Abaco, can never be overstated. We, as political leaders, paid dearly in the recent general elections for the hard, difficult, and unpopular decisions which we were called upon to make as government during perilous times. The time hardly any of the choices available to us were popular. But as a people, our legacy is not our current position. It is defined by the moments shared, the decisions made, the actions taken, and even the mistakes made, and sometimes overcome throughout many phases of our lives. The same may be said of our party, now in opposition. Convention delegates, I truly believe that the F&M best represents the hopes and aspirations of the Bahamian people. If you're here and you believe me, you better say something.
I's F&M, use F&M.
Our philosophies embody their philosophies and their vision for our country. We as a collective must always be minded of the notion that together united, we are a mighty force that can deliver better for the Bahamian people. We can be proud of our legacy as government. Have we been perfect? No, we haven't. But it was the F&M that planned, developed, and implemented programs which resulted in the granting of multiple privately owned radio stations and easy access to the global information highway. It was us who did that. People take cable, television, and the internet, and social media in all forms. They take it for granted nowadays. But it was the F&M-led governments that were the chief protagonist in the modernization of our laws, the expansion of our judiciary, and the introduction of elected local government. The F&M did that. Today, because of F&M policies and programs, while it's in office, we enjoy among the most modern infrastructure in the region. Yes, Adrian, we got better roads, we got better ports, and we got better airports. Preschool, the tertiary institutions multiplied on our watch, assuring all our children access to free education. The F&M did that. We built community health clinics. The F&M, which enabled the wider ownership in the economy, a more competitive tourism sector, one that became and remains the envy of our region. We were responsible during the last term, even though people like to suggest that we didn't do anything. We were responsible in the last term for establishing an embassy in Brussels to more directly address the challenges associated with negative financial listings. We did that. We were responsible for putting in place expert, effective management of the New Providence dump site, ending the perennial fires that afflicted the lives of so many residents in the southwestern Nassau. We did that.
Forward, upward, onward, together.
Moving offices, and I'm going to say this, we moved the offices from the rat-infested and mold-riddled old post office building to safe and sanitary offices. We did that. We were responsible for demolishing abandoned public buildings that blighted our capital city. We made passports renewals available online. We did that. We established passport services in Eleuthera, Exuma, Long Island, and in Agua. We did that. You know, we're responsible for that new port you see being created down in Nassau, down in the harbor. We did that. We also monetized our airspace that was talked about so much previously. We did that. We committed to developing the strengths, aptitudes, abilities, and skills of all our people, seizing small opportunities to achieve great ends. Our leader will speak more to this tomorrow night. We must, however, FNMs, hear me now. We must, however, recommit here at our convention to the aims and objectives of our party, as they are clearly stated in our party's constitution, which manifests the notion that we in the FNM, from the days of our formation, have been troubled by the perversions and deviations from parliamentary good standards by too many elected representatives in Bahamian politics. Everything you have heard here this evening, everything you've heard tonight and will hear tomorrow, everything you've heard in this convention, everything you will hear from this party is designated to meeting the stated aims and objectives of our party. We owe this to ourselves, and we owe it to our children. Mr. Leader, delegates, we are the party that was ripened in the crucible of Lewis Yard in 1970. This Free National Movement Party, of which many of us are the unlikely inheritors, was born out of the conviction that as a political organization, we could better serve the interests of the Bahamian people. And so there is rich irony in the notion that our forming resolution is as relevant today as it was when this organization was first officially formed by our founding fathers in 1971, one of whom is here with us tonight in the person of His Excellency, Ambassador Maurice Elijah Moore. In the interest of time, please permit me to share from the shortened clauses that I've chosen from our founding resolution. The FNM was created and dedicated itself to establish a government which truly reflects the political, social, and economic aspirations of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's who we are. The FNM was mandated to join forces with factions among citizens of our country and who ought logically to combine their energy, their resources, their political aims for the benefit of a unified and single cause. That's your job, Mr. Leader. And finally, the FNM was called to invite into its ranks all Bahamians who are opposed to corruption, tyranny, and reckless folly of the present government that was then, and who seek to establish good government dedicated to serve the best interest of our country and all its people. Delegates, FNMs, and all of you within the sound of my voice, that is our heritage. We were birthed out of the absolute necessity to establish a government reflective of the political, social, economic ambitions of Bahamians. We were called to say to other political parties of a similar mindset, come into our tent and let us combine our energies our resources, and our political objectives so that we might together cause the realization of the kind of the Bahamas that our children can be proud of. We were birthed out of an absolute necessity to establish a government that reflects the social and economic ambitions of Bahamians. We got to fix that, Mr. Leader. We were called to say to other political parties, come. We were instructed to stamp out corruption. I say we were instructed to stamp out corruption and tyranny and reckless folly toward the establishment of good governance. Mr. Leader, yours is the task, along with your new cohort of executives that we will elect tomorrow, Lord willing, to find the way to get us back to the old landmarks of what God called the F&M to be. Bahamians are still depending on us, and I know we can do it. I thank you, and good night.
Forward, upward, onward, together.
F&M. Please welcome to the stage Attorney Ramona Farquharson Seymour.
Coming back to continue what we started. Continue what we have begun.
F&Ms, good night. It's great to be here tonight. You look wonderful out there. In the interest of time, they've said to me, please behave. Get to your speech. To our party leader, the Honorable Michael Pintard and Mrs. Pintard, parliamentarians, other parliamentarians, senators and their spouses, party officials, one of our founding fathers who's present, Mr. Moore, Notorious Council members, Women's Association, torchbearers, all F&Ms, and those tuning in, good evening. This theme chosen for this convention, I believe, is very timely. We're being asked to honor our past, celebrate our achievements, and chart the future. In order for us to honor our past, at least for me, we must first acknowledge and see it in its fullness. In doing so, I don't wish us to travel too far down memory lane, but for us to very briefly analyze our recent past, our performance in the last general election. On the 16th of September, we lost the government. And we must, as a party, analyze why that occurred. We've heard yesterday and just recently all of our achievements. And so we must say, what happened? Some may say, well, we lost. What is there to honor or to be gained by focusing on our defeat? To them, I would say, almost everything. Because once we can objectively examine and assess our shortcomings, then we can learn from them and try to never make the same mistakes again. Only then, F&Ms, can we truly celebrate and be able to move on. There are many theories as to why we lost. Some say it's because of Hurricane Dorian of September of 2019, arguably the worst storm in our country's history. Others advance that it's due to the pandemic and its seemingly endless catastrophic effects, the massive loss of lives, debilitating symptoms that ravished our homes, our churches, business closures, economic shutdowns, loss of jobs, and the list goes on. For others, however, and this is key, it was how our leader or leaders handled these crises. To many, there was a perception that they appeared cold, arrogant, and simply out of touch. Whatever the reason or reasons, in the final analysis, in about just 3.5 to 4 years, We lost the trust and confidence of the Bahamian people. Many of our staunch supporters were in that number. They refused to answer the call when we asked them to stand with us. And convention, trust you, we felt their absence. We missed their support. When we asked them, why didn't you show up? Why weren't you there for us? They say, I didn't show up because their FNM, our party, hurt them. They claim that they've been ignored, that when they called to talk or for help, no one answered. FNMs, we must find a way of better connecting with our people. As a result of their feelings, and whatever the reasons may be, thousands of our people did not vote. The Bahamas experienced the lowest general election turnout in our country's history. The polls show that. So then, what should we learn from this? What's the takeaway? I say, firstly, Mr. Leader, that we must never take our FNMs for granted again.
Eyes FNM, use FNM.
When we achieve power, there must be more of a conscientious effort to listen to FNMs and help them as much as possible. It takes us all to win a general election. No matter the roles that we play, we are part of a whole. We are all important. Next, and I wish for those who are vying for party positions to pay particular attention, we must never allow any one person or select group to be able to operate with impunity in our party. Our party leaders must establish and execute the necessary mechanisms to be able to call in and bring in line any party officer, be they parliamentarian or not, who is not doing what is in the best interest of our party and indeed our country.
Eyes FNM, use FNM.
Oftentimes, we at the party and association level, we are at ground zero. We are the first to hear the concerns and cries of our supporters and citizens. And so therefore, there must be some mechanism in place so that when we need to act, we are able to do so and do so decisively. FNMs, our history has taught us that party politics, it's not about an individual or select group. It's about all of us. And only once we are truly united can we rebound and win again. This, I say to you, is how we truly honor our past. We see it for what it is. We learn from our mistakes, and just as our founding fathers and previous leaders faced many setbacks, just like them, we persevere. FNMs, we may be down right now, but we are not out. We are going through our aches and pains, but this too shall pass. Convention, as been said to you countless times, we've achieved much, and no doubt we'll continue to achieve, because we are a resilient party. And starting now that we are armed with the reasons for our defeat, combined with our new leader, a new team to be elected tomorrow, new attitude, renewed vision, and energy, we can and will begin to chart our future. We must, as soon as possible, advance with new vigor our plans to reform and repair our health care, educational, and economic systems. FNMs, make no mistake, Bahamians are wise. They will soon, if they have not already done so, see that the Progressive Liberal Party is at its core a party of spite and victimization. No matter the change of faces or leaders, their script remains the same. We FNMs must by now know, and if we don't, then we need to know and own it, that whenever we are compared to any other party, we are simply the best. Our nation is nearing 50 years of age. She's mature. She's no longer young and naive, and she will not fall all the time for pretty faces and empty promises. The Bahamas' days of sticking it out with any one political party if she feels it is not going to satisfy her or meet her needs are gone. What does this mean for us then, FNMs? We must therefore, in charting the way forward, adapt and show the Bahamas that we, the FNM, we are her greatest and best love. We are the best political party for this country.
Eyes FNM, use FNM.
We must be diligent and hold the government's feet to the fire. FNMs, we must also, particularly our parliamentarians, be careful and walk a tight line, not to appear to be too critical, but make fair assessments. We must warn the government when we see that they're about to fall or make missteps, because such missteps can impact us for generations. Overall, we must never let up. And when we point out the government's flaws, and there are many, we must never forget to show how and why we would do things differently, how we would do things better, how we would do things the FNM way. Convention, as I close, our history has shown us that defeat is not the end. This is merely a stepping stone. And that once we are truly united, once we've learned from our mistakes, we have reached and we reach out to our staunch members and supporters and we bring them back under the tent, then we will certainly move forward. That our past is rich and we've achieved much. 50 years and counting of valiant political service to this country. As we move forward, we know that our future is bright. We have the fire. It is within us. And no matter the adversity, no matter the challenge, we will meet them all because we are FNMs and we are red and never scared.
Shannon
FNMs.
Shenandoah.
FNMs. Party leader, the Honorable Michael C. Pintard and Mrs. Pintard, parliamentary colleagues, former leader, former Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Minnis, meritorious council members, party officers, delegates, fellow FNMs, and Bahamians everywhere, good night. First, let me give thanks to Almighty God, who is the great architect of the universe, for giving me the breath and the opportunity to be here this evening. As a fellow soldier, grateful to all of you, it's an honor and a privilege to address this convention. To the people of St. Barnabas, I remain honored to serve you. I wish to acknowledge the presence of my greatest critic, best friend, my confidant, my beautiful wife of 74 days, Nia. It too would be an egregious act of an incalculable magnitude if I did not recognize the presence of the Honorable Maurice Moore, a founding father whose life and life's work, along with other founding fathers, embodied the spirit of true patriotism and immeasurable sacrifice. Sir, we honor you. We are grateful to you and grateful to the other founding founders who have allowed us to drink from the well of prosperity and freedom that we did not help dig. Fellow delegates, I stand here tonight still believing that the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is the greatest nation on earth, and that our party, the Free National Movement's best days are ahead. I remain filled with the audacity to believe that we must cause our politics to lead and pave the way for change rather than let our politics get in the way of that change. And that the future of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, its prospects, and its promise must still be shaped and determined by the bigness of our ideas and not the smallness of our politics. Fellow delegates, over 50 years ago, 8 courageous, patriotic, fearless freedom fighters, led by our founding father, the late Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield, moved by the weight of personal conscience and urged by a stubborn conviction to deepen our democracy, protect its most sacred elements, the freedom to speak, to dissent, and lift the voices of the Bahamian people, forge what would become the foundation of this free national movement. This promise of a better Bahamas, this clarion call, this fight is still alive today. And it is in this spirit that I stand before you and together with you, moving forward and united for our cause. In the words of Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield, democracy and truth are hard and demanding taskmasters. So unless we have been sufficiently admonished and challenged by these words of Sir Cecil, our efforts at this convention will miss the mark and fail, and so will the fate of our desires to recapture the confidence and imagination of the Bahamian people at the ballot box. We have been sent back to the political sidelines to rethink, retool, re-engineer, then reapply. This convention is a conversation about the future of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and in so being, it is not a conversation that need be limited to our own ranks, nor is it a Nassau-centric conversation. It requires the involvement of all Bahamians from every island, every settlement, and the execution of our collective efforts as a people. So Bahamians everywhere tonight, we say to you loudly and clearly, we heard you on September 16th. The Free National Movement hears you. Our leader, Michael Pintard, hears you. We got the message loud and clear, and we shall respond. Fellow delegates, our response must consider the historical bookmark of the moment. We are in unparalleled times, extraordinary times, a time further pressed by the fallout of a global pandemic, rising gas prices, a strained global supply chain, debilitating inflation, a nationally self-inflicted 10% tax on bread basket items and prescription medicines. The results in real and everyday life terms for the poor and working class Bahamian: rising food prices, emptier cupboards, difficulty in assessing 10% tax medications, compromise health across our population, inclusive of the elderly and the many thousands of Bahamian families dealing with non-communicable diseases, less disposable income, deferred dreams and aspirations. So fellow delegates, in these extraordinary times in our nation's history, We are required to have extraordinary resolve and respond resolutely and proactively to the prevailing issues of the day. Issues, frankly, that the Bahamian people continue to express have evaded us for far too long. So FNMs, as we gather here in this convention, we have a duty not to be oblivious or dismissive. We cannot bury our heads in the political sand. To do so would be political malpractice, but most importantly, a dereliction of duty to the Bahamian people. No government has been re-elected consecutively since the Free National Movement in 1997. I submit it is because the national politics has not sufficiently satisfied the Bahamian people's thirst and appetite for big change and real transformation. The electoral back and forth is a function of the Bahamian people longing for direction from those that aspire to lead and serve. They are pleading for a sustained vision that inspires belief, confidence, and commitment. Fellow delegates, in every generation there is a defining moment, a moment of great clarity and determination where the conscience of a people can no longer bear the burden of unfulfilled dreams and an uncertain future. This is that defining moment. In the wake of maddening and paralyzing surge in violent crime and the fear of crime rising daily, we are reminded that crime will continue to threaten our way of life. We readily acknowledge that crime ought not to be a political issue, but it is incumbent on the government of the day to lay out a strategic plan to mitigate the scourge of criminal activity. There is no denying that the prospect of a better Bahamas cannot be realized without the creation of safer communities and fortifying our national security. Historically, the Free National Movement has had a long-standing relationship with our armed forces and has been consistent in its view, policy platforms, and governmental initiatives that the safety and security of our citizens is no doubt a significant down payment on the future prosperity for our country. Under the Free National Movement, the National Neighborhood Watch Council, inclusive of 152 neighborhood watch groups located on the islands of Abaco, Eleuthera, Grand Bahama, and New Providence, saw major improvements in public safety and received the coveted Leadership in Community Policing Award 2020 by the International Association of Chiefs of Police. This expansive program, along with video integration centers, consistent recruitment in the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services, the commissioning of the long-range radar in Inagua in 2019, and the use of the Real-Time Crime Center all placed our national security footing in good stead. Our national security viability and the responsiveness remains an integral and consequential part to creating an even more richly transformed Commonwealth of the Bahamas. FNMs, it is exactly this commitment to progress, change, and the governing legacy of our party that has uniquely prepared us to right-size, refocus, and redouble our efforts to re-enlist the electoral confidence of the Bahamian people. Delegates, we've navigated these waters before. So with a clearly defined vision under the leadership of Michael C. Pintard, our national agenda for real change, fueled by big ideas and the courage to see it through, we can realize a most prosperous future that captures the imagination of the Bahamian people. It is this agenda, this vision, FNMs, that we bring before the Bahamian people at this convention. A vision where we renew the hope, employ proper strategies, change course, and change direction from where we are now. Fellow delegates, we know this can be achieved because throughout the history of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Free National Movement and the Bahamian people have stood side by side, walked hand in hand, and in lockstep. So we say to Bahamians everywhere, the Free National Movement is still with you. Our leader, Michael Pintard, is with you. We will continue to lift our voices in agreement with you, and we will lift our feet in protest for you. The Free National Movement has always been about the Bahamian people. Freedom of expression for the people. Freedom of political association for the people. A better country, a better way of life for the Bahamian people. FNM's our political heritage is rich and legacy of governance is undeniable. The FNM gets things done. History will show when the question is asked, which political party has contributed mightily to the transformation of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas by employing bold, innovative ideas? The answer is the FNM. I ask you, which political party fought against the suppression of the voices of the Bahamian people? Yes, it was the FNM that liberated the national airways so that the voices of the Bahamian people will always be heard in holding its government accountable. I ask you, which political party is a true friend of the Bahamian worker and values the contribution to the Bahamian economy? Yes, it was the FNM that established a minimum wage, ensured a shorter work week for workers, and introduced for the first time ever unemployment benefits under the National Insurance Board program, and created the Jumpstart program and strengthened small business development centers that earmark grants for aspiring entrepreneurs. I ask you, which political party fully recognized that a meaningful investment in our youth and their development is an investment in our nation's future? Yes, it was the FNM that ensured increased funding for educational loans to national and international institutions and unveiled the Self-Starter program, enabling young entrepreneurs to start their own business. Fellow delegates, we stand on the platforms of our legislative history and on the shoulders of outstanding men and women who served our country, brought distinction to our party, and illuminated the corridors of Bahamian history. This is the party of the dissident eight. 8 brave men who defied the status quo, stood up and said Bahamians deserved a better future and the right to determine that future. This is the party of our bold, courageous freedom fighter and founding father, Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield, whose call to action resonated in that timeless phrase, free at last, my soul is dancing. This, fellow FNMs, is the party of the Honorable Janet Boswick, the first woman elected to Parliament. This is the party of Rome Italia Johnson, the first woman elected to be Speaker of the House of Assembly. This is the party, FNMs, of Dame Ivy Dumont, the first woman to serve as Governor General in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Fellow delegates, we want you and the Bahamian people to know that we will not sit down and shut up, but we will stand up and we will speak up. We will stand up and speak up as we echo the voices of the Bahamian people and say defiantly that things are broken and we must fix it. We will stand up and speak up, for we know that we must shore up our social levees and that crime continues to threaten our way of life, economic stability, and deprive Bahamians of the peace and tranquility they deserve. We will stand up and we will speak up because the Bahamian economy lacks the imagination and diversity to ensure sustained employment and prosperity. We will stand up and we will speak up because we agree that public education system in its current state is uninspiring, needs reform, and is not serving our educators and our students well. We will stand up and we will speak up because we agree that the Bahamian cultural identity is under siege, under assault, and has been undercultivated to the detriment of future generations. We will stand up and we will speak up, for we know we can no longer allow the change that the Bahamian people desire to be held hostage to an execution gap, the gap between what they've been told will be done and what actually gets done. It has paralyzed our ability to solve some of our country's greatest challenges. Fellow delegates, in the words of another, we must not just talk, we must act. We must not just promise, we must prove. There is no progress without change. There is no change without sacrifice. Fellow delegates, as I prepare to leave this platform tonight, I look around this convention and I see the faces of our founding fathers, meritorious council members, and freedom fighters whose very lives bear the scars of this movement. I see your faces, you, the valiant gladiators and soldiers who continue to hold the torch high in the cause for democracy. love of our Bahama land, and love of the Bahamian people. It tells us that despite our individual differences, this moment is still alive, that the fabric of the free national movement is strong, and that we've started this convention strengthened by this truth. There is more that unites us than divides us. And we move forward united. Let us rely on this truth and on the words of that ageless spiritual with chords that can never be broken. So FNMs, when our name is called, let us stand and respond with one resounding voice, all together. All together as we join with Bahamians everywhere to bring about real change and transformation to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas under the leadership of Michael Pintard. Yes, all together as we continue to build an opportunity society for all so that we can truly move forward, upward, and onward together. May God bless all of you. May he bless the Free National Movement, and may he continue to bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Shenandoah, Cartwright, hey, Shenandoah, Cartwright, only Cartwright can liberate the people.
Thank you very much. You know, FNMs, Grand Bahama is significant in the Free National Movement. As we honor our past, celebrate our achievements, and chart the future, we must recognize that Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield had a lady, and because of that lady, he had strength. Lady Naomi Wallace Whitfield, we thank you for your contribution to the man who led this party initially. And speaking of Grand Bahama, you know it's FNM country still, right? Don't let them fool you. Grand Bahama has its own set of MPs on the Free National Movement that will ensure that the next time we come back, it's gonna be 3, then 5. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Grand Bahama's very own, our very own, MP for East Grand Bahama, none other than the Honorable Kwesi Thompson.
They say this mountain can't be moved. They say these chains will never break.
FNMs! FNMs! Today, in Freeport, 82-year-old Loretta Lang is struggling to make ends meet. She lives alone and relies only on her pension. She has to pay utilities, groceries, and buy medication. She now must pay more for groceries, more for electricity, which is about to increase in Grand Bahama, and VAT has now been added to her medication. Loretta Lang must make real life decisions on whether to pay groceries or whether to buy medication. Just last week, I was at the food store and I was stopped by a lady. She said, "Mr. Thompson, do you see these prices?" I said, "Yes, they are getting really bad." She said, "I thought they said it was a new day." But I said, "Yes, it's a new day. But they didn't say it would be a good day."
My God, my God, my God, my God.
Thousands of Bahamians are asking themselves the same question. Mr. Party Leader,
and Mrs. Pintard, parliamentary colleagues, former Prime Minister, MCMs, Women's Association, torchbearers, my fellow delegates, Bahamians, good evening. There is no greater issue that faces Bahamians today than rising prices because of inflation. First, we were told there is nothing that can be done about inflation. Yes, we know this is caused by outside forces, but we should be doing all that is possible to mitigate the effects of inflation, not just sitting by and letting it happen. But let me help you for a second. Here is some of the things we could be doing to immediately mitigate the effects of inflation. Number one, just remove VAT from breadbasket items. Restore VAT to 12% on property transactions of millionaires above $2 million and use that money to help the poor. Remove VAT on all locally produced food. Eliminate customs duty, excise taxes, shipping fees on certain items to reduce the cost of food and goods landed in the Bahamas. Provide more funding for fishermen and farmers through grants. Increase backyard farming and community farming projects. Simple. Increase the amount provided for social services food assistance program and increase the amount of people eligible to get the program. Increase the amount provided for school lunch program. Just follow what the FNM had planned to do with universal breakfast and universal school lunch, and pay the school vendors more money. Increase the amount provided for electricity assistance. Now this one especially for Grand Bahama, because our electricity is going up. Reinstate, let me say it again, reinstate the national food program started by the FNM. And reinstate unemployment assistance program, again, started by the FNM. FNMs, the PLP told us that this was going to be a new day. But there were some secrets that they did not tell us. They didn't say a word that VAT was going to be added on breadbasket items. They didn't say a word that VAT was going to be added to your medication. That's secret number one. The Ministry of Finance, they didn't say that the Ministry of Finance now says that all the new revenue that they are projecting will come from new tax measures. Secret number two. They didn't say that they revealed in their first fiscal strategy that in the next fiscal year, beginning this July, that the government projects some secret tax or secret cuts to the budget, like cutting compensation to employees by $70 million. Can you imagine the public servants' salaries being cut by $70 million? Tell me, whose jobs is getting cut? They didn't say a word about the other secret cuts buried in their fiscal strategy report. They didn't tell the Family Islands about the plan to cut funding of local government districts by $1 million. It's in the fiscal strategy report. They didn't tell the public service that they will cut your budget by $25 million come July. They didn't tell. And I want you all to think about this one. They didn't tell the police that they will cut their budget by $10 million come July. Imagine cutting the police force by $10 million. The defense force by $5 million. Now hold on. You think that one bad? You think that one bad? How could you be serious about education? Education. When you plan to cut education by $30 million come July's budget. FNMs, we must hold their feet to the fire. Keep the fire burning. FNMs, family. Can we talk? We family, right? This is a defining moment for our party and for our country. While the election is over, have we really learned the lessons from this election? You know, my mother used to say, boy, if you don't listen, you're gonna feel. We family. Real talk. FNMs. Failure is not final. I will say it like Muhammad Ali said it. You don't lose if you get knocked down. You only lose if you stay down. So FNMs, we will get back up. We will get back up. FNMs, what now? What will we do now? Now we can cry and complain about the past mistakes. And there were mistakes. Or we can acknowledge them, apologize for them, and then learn from them. Listen, I am done with the blaming. I am done with the complaining. The Bahamas needs more than just a new day slogan. We need a better day and a better way. A vision for a better Bahamas. A vision for the young man in Baintown. A vision for the mother in Sweetens Key. A vision for the father in Inagua. A vision of real economic empowerment, opportunity, and ownership. A vision of a digital country driven by technology. Grand Bahama, where are you, Grand Bahama? Grand Bahama, oh, my Grand Bahama. Let me just send a quick shout out to East Grand Bahama. Let me say, thank you. Thank you. I love you too. Thank you. Grand Bahama has shown that in spite of it all, Grand Bahama was, is, and remains FNM country. Keep the fire burning. Grand Bahama, even though we didn't get it all right, and we made some mistakes, you have been faithful to the FNM. You deserve to have your new airport. You deserve to have your new hospital. You deserve to have a renewed economy. Now, I know it will not all be fixed in 5 months. I get that. But we are further away than when we started. We left the plan in place for the airport. We left the plan in place for the hotel. We left the plan and the funding in place for the hospital and the new school. And please, please, pay the people for the Hurricane Dorian home repair. It is unconscionable that not one person has been paid for home repair program since election. Unconscionable. Now let's talk a little bit about investments. Imagine real economic empowerment and employment by facilitating Bahamian foreign investment approval in hours or days, not months and years. Yes, we saw tremendous development, and it was our plan to create Invest Bahamas. But we must make it easier and better for Bahamians and investors. FNMs. Imagine a Bahamas driven by digital technology. Imagine. Our country needs a digital transformation. This is the key to the ease of doing business. You know, we prove this. We prove this by the creation of the My Gateway platform. This transformed the wait time at the passport office, road traffic, police certificates, and the Registrar General's office. But while we perform the largest digital transformation in our history, we have only scratched the surface. And we need things like a digital ID. Our schools need a full digital transformation. National insurance. Could you imagine a 70, 80-year-old person having to show up physically to national insurance just to verify that they are alive? We need a full digital transformation of our hospitals, our roads, our ports, customs, the public service, the post office. All need a digital transformation. Getting business started digitally should only take hours, not months. Opening a bank account digitally should only take a day, not months and sometimes years. FNMs. This is just a part of the vision. But we must also demonstrate that we have the capability to carry out and to deliver. This requires building trust and respect of the people that we wish to serve. We must work our butts off to earn the trust and confidence of the Bahamian people once again. This is not an entitlement. It must be earned. Quite frankly, we must work harder than we've ever worked before to get it back. We cannot sit back and expect people to support us just because we wear red. Those days are gone. We cannot just talk about better. We must actually do better and show them better. FNMs, there is no substitute for character. There's no substitute for unity. And there's no substitute for values. We must demonstrate that we are on one accord. We must demonstrate that politics should be about service and not just about attaining power. FNMs, do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. We must press on, FNMs. The fight is not about us. We must continue to fight for our country. We must continue to press on for our country. My brothers and sisters, we must press. The Bahamas is worth fighting for. So we must press, because the FNM is still the best party to govern this country. So we must press, FNM. We must press. The Bahamas needs an FNM that is united. The Bahamas needs an FNM that is strong. And the Bahamas needs an FNM that is together. So we must press on. Torchbearers, we must press on. Women's Association, we must press on. MCMs, associations, we must press on. All hands on deck. Former candidates, former MPs, former ministers, yes, former prime ministers, the country still needs you. The FNM still needs you. My brothers and sisters, we must press on. We must press on. My parliamentary colleagues, the Fantastic Four and the Magnificent Seven. We may be small in numbers, but we sure ain't silent. We will speak on, we will speak loud, and we will press on. Mr. Leader, your job is not an easy job. But when times get difficult, when times get hard, stay strong, my brother. Stay strong, my brother. Press on, my brother. Press on, my brother. Press on towards the mark for the prize of the high calling. Pressing onward, marching together, staying steady and steady onward, lifting up our heads to the rising sun, till the road we've trod leads unto our God. FNM, FNM, FNM. God bless you and good night.
The tide will never change. They haven't seen what you can do. There is power in your name. So much power in your name.
Yeah, 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 yeah. FNM, y'all better make some noise. Forward. 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 Come on now, forward. Y'all better make some noise. Put something in the air. Let's go. Woo. Hey. Pump, 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 pump. Let 'em know. Who watching, we don't care. Who talking, we don't care. Who peeping, we don't care. Who sticking, lead them there. Who linking, we right here. Who rushing, we right here. We got FNMs in here. I come to party. I did nice up on my head, light. I loved it myself tonight. FNM so sexy. Whoa! Y'all ready? Put your hands in the air. My sexy lady. Hey, 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 hey. Where would we now? Where? Jump Louis. This crowd is spinning racks now. We feeling plenty vibes. Represent your flying now. We waving high, high, high. The crowd is ridiculous. I need to feel more energy in here. More energy. More energy. Start the wave right here. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Double time, double time. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, hey. Y'all ready for this new song now? Watch this one. Forward, 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 forward. F and M, F and M, F and M, F and M. Now listen. I know this is a jumping man right here. Let me see your moves. Let's go. I see these moves. I never see your jumping moves. I never see your jumping moves. I see. Let me see. Hold on now. Hold on now. You see the jumping moves? You saw the jumping moves? It's a thumbs up. It's a thumbs up. I come to party. I did nice about my head, light, light, light. I love in myself tonight, only getting. I love you so much.
Fitting way to end the night. Minister Kwesi, former Minister Kwesi Thompson did a phenomenal job just now, right? He echoed a statement that was made by most of the speakers tonight that the FNM is still the best choice for the Bahamian people, that we are party of results. I believe that the Bahamian people want results. I think they were pleased with what they heard tonight from all of our speakers. What do you say?
I say Kwesi definitely woke up this house. I think that was a slam dunk to close out tonight. You know, Ramona Patterson reminded us really that we're mature and we're looking for the best. A mature woman looks for the best and the country is looking for the best. And she said the FNM is the best. Shannon Dawn Cartwright also came in. He really ignited the crowd and he also really made us focus on who we are as FNMs. And I think, as I said, Kwesi just slammed down to close out tonight with vigor, power, and showing that Freeport, Grand Bahama is still FNM country.
Absolutely. Listen,
definitely.
If tonight was like this, right, and we heard Kwesi Thompson, I'm excited about tomorrow night. And so I want to say to all of those who are watching us tonight, you don't want to miss tomorrow night. Because tomorrow night we're going to close out with our leader. You can get to see the makeup of our party as we move forward. Because elections are tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to be electing 50 new officers tomorrow at FNM, so we're going to spend the day. The day was about business, party business, and closed session.
Right.
Tomorrow we're going to go into elections, 50 new officers to be elected.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to invite all of you guys to come here tomorrow. Come with your, if you're vaccinated, you're able to come into the hall.
Yep.
If you come with your test and it's negative, you're able to come in the hall. This place is going to be packed. We have hundreds of persons still here.
Come early.
Come early.
Come early.
Tomorrow is the closeout night.
Absolutely.
Come with your vaccination report. Come with your negative test and enjoy this FNM 2022 convention.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're celebrating.
You know the leader. I just sense him. I saw him earlier. Right, he's calm and cool. You know he's a visionary, and so I believe that he's a speaker by heart, but he's a speaker of passion. Yes. And I believe tomorrow that he's going to lay out a vision for this party and for this country so that we can move forward. We're doing the work right now, and so we're looking forward to seeing everybody join us tomorrow night. Don't miss us. We'll be right here at Atlantis Ballroom tomorrow night.
I'm going to tell you, be here tomorrow. It's been a pleasure, Godville, talking,
here,
enjoying this convention. And I want to say to you, the Bahamas, we look forward to being with you tomorrow.
I'm inspired.